Okay, so good afternoon and welcome. Our topic today is GT Writing Task 1, which is letter writing. So everything you need to know about your writing task 1 is going to be tackled today. So we shall begin because we have a lot of things to accomplish. So the first thing that you need to understand, most especially if this is your first time attending a lesson and you don't have that much background when it comes to what IELTS is. Writing is the most difficult task in your IELTS. I will not be sugarcoating anything. I will not be giving you false hopes and promises. If you will not be doing your part, it is not easy to pass this exam. And many people in the past have failed to do that. That's why we're here. We want to minimize the occurrence of failure, and we want to increase the chance of you passing this test in this attempt. So your examination, written examination, you may take computer delivered exam. You may take the pen and paper based test. It depends on your preference. Meaning, if I want to take the examination on the first week of July, for example, I can choose what type of test is the most suitable for me. If I am good at typing my answer on a computer, then computer delivered exam is for you. But if you are not a person who can fast type, who can type really fast, all right, then the pen and paper test is what I recommend for you to take. So regardless of whether you will take computer delivered or pen and paper test, I will refer to both of them as written exam. So written exam is my collective terminology for the listening, reading, and writing. So here's what happens during the test. Listening will be played first and it will last for 40 minutes. Reading will follow right after, which you are allowed to spend 60 minutes. Now for the writing examination as a whole, it will last for 60 minutes. So if you begin your examination at 9 in the morning, 9 to 9:40 is the duration of your listening subtest. 9:40 to 10:40 is the duration of your reading, whereas the last exam is writing. So you see where the problem is, okay? You now understand where the problem happens. The problem is you will be taking 2 tests prior to writing. Sa Tagalog po, maaring kayo ay pagod na bago kayo dumating sa writing. Okay? So that's the thing. Okay, this is going to be one of the burdens that many people experience when they take their exams. They don't know they are not prepared for what they're actually going to experience. So that's why at 9.09er in our branch, we will try to give you an experience that is very close to reality. So during mock exams, we simulate the listening, reading, and even writing exam. That's what we're going to do this coming Friday. So if you can attend the face-to-face lecture on our branch, you are free to do so. Kindly check on Niner Facebook posts. Meron din po dong QR code. All you have to do is to scan it. Makakarating na po kayo sa aming testing center. Sir, what if I still don't want to risk going to places? I might catch the virus pa rin. I'm afraid about COVID and other diseases. I'm more comfortable staying at home. Then you can stay at home. We will still do the mock simultaneously. All right? Online. Okay, so that will be this Friday. Now, going back to the discussion, this is your third exam, the writing subtest, the third exam. All right. So after listening, after reading, writing will be the last among its written variants. Okay. You're given 60 minutes to finish your test. Now, you have 2 tasks to complete, right? Task 2 is essay writing. So we will be dedicating a lecture entirely for this. So we have roughly 8 major lectures, your 5 individual task descriptions, plus 3 skills enhancement, content, and major lectures as well. So in total, 8 times 3, we will be dedicating 24 hours of lecture and attendance of classes, whether it is live or replay, just for task 2. Again, guys, task 2 is a different animal. Task 2 is a totally different world on its own. And majority of the people who fail the writing exam is due to task 2. Why? Here is the question. Why? The answer to that question is writing task 2 carries a total of 67% of your total writing score. You might be good at doing task 1. Congratulations. But if you will not be doing your task 2 properly as well, then the effort you did for task 1 will just go to waste. So here's the thing. If you will get 8 in task 2 as your score, and if you will get a low band score of 5 in task 1, this is still going to get a 7. How is your score computed? Task 2 will be multiplied by 2 plus your task 1 score divided by 3. So this is 16 plus 5, total of 21, which you will now divide by 3. That is going to be a 7. Now, here's the problem, guys. Here's another problem for everyone, okay? It is not very common for people to score an 8 in task 2. This is a very difficult thing to do. So for you to at least get a decent band score, we're looking at you 7, okay? For you to get a 7, both your writing task 2 and your writing task 1 must work in congruence with one another, both of which must have a decent band score of 7 so that you will be able to secure a 7. Some of you might ask me, sir, my agency told me I just need to get a 5. My agency told me I just need to get a 4. My sister told me I just need to get 4.5. Why are you forcing me to get 7? Because you have a potential. Every single one of you present here has a potential of getting a high band score. And that is my job, to unleash your potential for you to get this band score, for you to aim at a high writing task 1 and another impressive performance for task 2, so that we will be able to achieve the elusive 7 in writing. Okay, so now in the actual exam, you are given freedom to choose which among the 2 tasks will you be starting with. Ikaw ang magdidesisyon ano ang uunahin mo. At ako ang magdidesisyon para sa iyo. Ang uunahin mo ay ang task 2. Bakit? As I've mentioned, task 2 carries more weight. Should you get a very high performance in task 2 and not so good score in task 1, you will still get 7. Okay? But you need to remember, you only have 40 minutes to do task 2, and not forget that you will allot the remaining 20 minutes for your task 1. Both of your tasks must be finished. Okay? Now, task 2 is definitely bad news. Task 2 is definitely bad news not just for academic, but for UGT. You will have the same difficulty level of questions, same as with academic test takers. Yes, you guys will have the same format, same approach, same attack for all the types of questions out there. And questions, they don't pick anyone. Questions are random. It will appear. A difficult question could be today. An easy question could be tomorrow. Who knows? Okay. Now, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is good news for everyone. You need to allot 24 hours of study for task 2. Of course, that is divided, okay? But in task 1, you know what? All you have to do, guys, is to attend this lecture. Yes, just by attending this lecture, you will learn about the requisites of task 1 and how can you produce, how can you generate a decent task 1 that is bound to get a score of 7 or higher. And today, I will teach you exactly that. Okay? You do task 2 first, but you do not forget to allot the remaining 20 minutes for your task 1 because they are equally important. Okay. Now, your task, general training, test takers, is letter writing. Your task 1 is to compose a letter in which you need to request or give information or perhaps explain a problem. If you are good at requesting information, same as with giving information, if you are familiar with explaining problem in written English, then you are halfway through passing this exam. You need to be able to do any of the following. So your versatility matters here. You need to be able to ask for and provide general information, equally expressing your needs, wants, likes, or dislikes, as well as expressing opinions and complaints, and not to mention being able to make requests, suggestions, and recommendations. So those are the skills that you need to come up with an effective letter. Now, there are different types of narrative in your letter. So what I mean by this is that the instruction tells you exactly how you should approach your letter. And this is the main theme. This is what dictates the entire format of your letter. What is your letter going to be about? Your letter, you will make a letter about a college accommodation officer. You encounter problems with your accommodation and you're supposed to write one. That's it. Now here's the problem. Here's the problem. Let me read this to you one by one. Writing to a new employer about time management problems. Writing to a local newspaper about a plan to develop a local airport. Writing a letter in response to a complaint about you. Writing to a renting agency to sort out problems with the heating system of your house. And writing to an English-speaking friend to thank them for helping you with something. Now let me cover everything. Let me just leave one. Okay, I will leave one bullet point here. Writing to a renting agency to sort out problems with the heating system of your house. Let's pause for a while. If today is my exam and my topic is this, I am being asked to write to a renting agency to sort out problems. Problems about what? Heating system of the house. Here's where the problem happens. As Filipinos, we are not very familiar with heating system. Guys, nasa Pilipinas tayo, walang heating system dito. Diba? Perhaps we use heating of water for bath, like sa Baguio City, Tagaytay, or during cold front, kapag December na sa atin, malamig, so nagpapakulo tayo, but not, heating system with pipings and tubings and everything. We're not used to it. So you see where the problem lies? yung topic na kailangan mo isulat ay something na hindi ka masyadong pamilyar. Okay? So let that sink in first. Hindi natin maaaring piliin ano yung topic na lalabas. And that's what makes this task difficult. But even so, you can still write a letter. Hindi naman kailangan ma-experience ka na ikaw ay nagrenta ng bahay at may problema yun sa heating system para makagawa ka ng effective na letter about that. You don't have to experience that firsthand. All you need to do is to think. Think of this situation. What if this is a real thing? Imagine yourself in this situation. Try to put yourself in the situation. Yes, you rented a house. And the house had a problem with the heating system. I am going to write to them to sort out the problems. So of course, I will be fabricating a story. I will tell them a make-up story that I rented a house. The house at first was cozy, but eventually I found out that the heating system was faulty. And because of that, my family and I were not able to enjoy our stay. Oh, here's what makes the problem worse. My firstborn, okay, is a newborn child. And he is 6 months old. We know that babies don't have that great temperature adaptation because they're babies. They need heat. So my child is sick because of this. So I will exacerbate the situation so that they will sort out the problem. Nagets niyo yun? Wala akong anak na 6 months old. Wala ako sa Canada. Gumagawa lang ako ng storya para mag-fit sa situation. That is your task. So everyone, mahirap ang exam. Pero yung pag-fabricate ba ng story, thinking of yourself in the situation, mahirap ba yon o madali? Ana, Jake, Jen, Katrina, Marimark, Noraida, Ruel. Mahirap ba yon o madali?
Mahirap, sir.
Hindi mahirap. Mahirap. Ruel, huy, iisipin mo lang na nandun ka sa sitwasyon. Hindi kailangan na talaga naranasan mo yon. Mahirap, madali. Ruel, magutin mo ako.
Medyo mahirap nga, sir. Mahirap mag-isip,
Madali.
mahirap gumawa, sir, ng
Ruel,
story.
tell yourself madali. It's not difficult. Gagawa ka ng story. Eto halimbawa, bigyan kita ng story, ha, Ruel. Susulat ka ng letter sa supermarket. Kasi 3 days ago, nadulas ka. Nadulas ka. Susulat ka ng letter sa kanila kasi hihingi ka ng bayad dun sa hospitalization mo dahil nadulas ka. Paano natin ipapaliwanag yon? Hindi ka naman talaga nadulas sa supermarket, Ruel. Gagawa ka lang ng storya sa sarili mo. 3 days ago, I went to the supermarket. I did not notice that there was a wet floor in the wet section of the market. I was supposed to buy fish for my family's dinner. Unfortunately, I slipped and hit my pelvis on the floor. I was rushed to the hospital, and luckily, they didn't find anything, any problems. But I paid for the bills of the hospital. That's why I wrote this letter. I would like to make a request for a compensation. Diba? Hihingi ako ng compensation sa nangyari. Bakit? Kasalanan niyo. Wala akong nilagay na caution, wet floor. Nadulas ako. Kasalanan niyo yan. Diba? Mahirap ba yun o madali, Ruben?
Madali na, sir.
Ayan. Ayan ang sinasabi ko. Okay. See? All you need to do is to think. Put yourself in the situation. That's it. It's not difficult, guys. Think of this. Magpa-fabricate ka lang ng story. Alright? Again, dito lang po yan sa letter writing. Huwag gawin sa totoong buhay. Baka hindi ka umuwi ng tama sa oras sa asawa mo tapos puro ka paggagawa ng istorya ha, sinasabi ko sa inyo ha. Hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon, dito lang yan sa letter writing. Diyan lang tayo magsisinungaling. Huwag ugaliin yan, okay? So, these are just some of the common narrative that you must assimilate in your letter. So, how will you be assessed? So now, let's talk about criteria consideration. Of course, examiners will have a list of standards, what they're looking for in letters that they will be reading. So for you to understand what this criterion entails, it is crucial that you know how a typical question for a GT task 1 will look like. So now, we will be breaking down exactly what a general training task description looks exactly like. A GT task description always starts with a reminder on how much time you have to complete the letter. Nakalagay doon, you are recommended to spend 20 minutes on this task. This is followed by the narrative of the context that you must assimilate in the letter. Ito. So nakalagay, you are recommended to spend 20 minutes on this task. Tapos ito, alin man dyan. That is what we call the narrative of the context that you have to assimilate in your letter. And then it is followed by 3 bullet points. Okay, may bullet points. Ano yung mga dapat mong include sa letter. And then how many words you are supposed to write. Okay, to complete the letter. Plus, hindi ito madalas nangyayari, special directions. What are these special directions? Typically, how to start the letter. Okay, begin your letter as follows. Dear Sir /blank. So may mga ganun. So ito siya. All right, this is the anatomy of a task description. What you will see on your exam. So this is your task description, ha? This is the instruction of how much time you are supposed to write your letter, which is 20 minutes. This is the narrative of the context that you must assimilate in your letter, followed by 3 bullet points, and then the word requirement and the special instructions. This is the typical task description, how it will look like in person. So for you to ace this task, para mataas ang makuha ang score, you need to consider 3 things. Responsiveness, tone, structure. Okay, so there are 3 things that your letter must follow. The responsiveness criterion, tone, and structure. So you will be making sure that your letter corresponds to the demands of these 3 criteria. So first, what is responsiveness? Responsiveness is the completeness of your task. So let us first talk about completeness. When you say completeness, you were able to finish your task within the time prescribed. You were able to write the number of words adequately. You were able to provide the adequate number of words, more than 150. So you just not settle with 150. We're looking at around 170 to 220 words. So somewhere along these increments and decrements. So you can write 175, you can write 210, you can write 183. Okay. So that is responsiveness. Sir, what if I was only able to write 144? So this number of word, of course, this is under length. There is a box on your answer sheet that says under length. So you will be getting a check there and a penalty of 1. If you will be submitting an under length letter, if it is 150 words, less than 150 words, you will get a penalty of 1. If this is less than 100 words, you will get a penalty of 2. So it is not hard to fail the test. If you will not be corresponding to the number of words, the number of word requirement, then you will fail easily. We don't want that to happen. To make matters worse, if you will submit an essay, a letter that is less than 150, your automatic TR or task response score will be 5. That makes it even more difficult to get a 7. Kasi your 5 TR, even though your coherence and cohesion, vocab and grammar will get an 8, if you add them together, it is a 7, but may penalty ka na 1. So the highest possible score is not 7, kung hindi 6. Provided na maka-8 ka pa doon sa tatlo, which is not a very easy thing to do. So the first thing you need to understand is that your letter must have more than 150 words. Now, this is not going to be a problem for computer-delivered test takers, because for computer-delivered test takers, there is a number of word line below. Meron kang dedicated na area doon kung saan makikita mo kung nakakailang words ka na. But for pen and paper test takers, you need to count it manually. So it's going to take time. Responsiveness is when you're able to write at least 150 words, always within the time given to you. It also includes being able to address all bullet points. If you misunderstand or omit any bullet point, you will receive a grade of 4 for task achievement. Guys, this is really bad news for everyone. How many bullet points are there? Okay, let us return. Let us return to the sample writing task. You wrote a letter, you were able to finish it less than 20 minutes. Let's say you submitted it 18 minutes lang. You still have 2 minutes remaining. You wrote 167. Pasok pa rin yan sa 150 words. All right? But the problem was you described your situation, you explained your problems and why it's difficult to work, but you forget the part where you need to say what kind of accommodation you would prefer. There is no paragraph nor sentence dedicated entirely for you requesting a change of accommodation in the end. Therefore, because this is a bullet point that was left unchecked, you will get a band of 4. Again, people, we are not here to get a 4. Guys, you should be scared with that number. We don't want that. Get away from me. 4, get away from me. If that happens, if you misunderstand a bullet point, if you omit a bullet point, then the band score you will get is 4. That is very far from your requirement. You need to get a 7. Some of you might just need to get a 6. Others might just require themselves to get a 5. But those things can't happen if you misunderstand or omit a bullet point, because automatically your TA score will now become 4. So once again, responsiveness has something to do with completeness and the number of words within the time prescribed. Before I proceed to the next criterion, do you guys have any questions? My 8 participants today: Agnes, Anna, Jake, Jen, Katrina, Marimark, Noraida, Ruel. Do you have questions? Questions, guys. Come on. If you have questions, ask me right now. Okay. Jen said none. Jake said wala. Katrina said none. So that means I shall continue. So this is the answer sheet, guys. This is the front page, and this is the back page of your writing task 1. Now let me zoom in. Let me zoom in. So you see here the TA, task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, the words that you use, grammatical range and accuracy, punctuation, spelling, capitalization. Ito yung sinasabi kong under length, number of words, let's say 144, wag naman sana. So penalty of 1. Ito siya. So I am not joking when I said examiners are very meticulous when it comes to the number of words. I cannot highlight this enough, but please make sure that you will write the adequate number of words. Ito siya. So if we zoom in, so TA, task achievement, this is your responsiveness. Tone has something to do with lexical resource and grammar. And the format, the content will be your coherence and cohesion. So under length, of course, we don't want to have a check and a penalty here. We don't want that to happen. So make sure to write more than 150. 151, 152, 165, 170, 183, 191, 210, 220. But you should not write more than 220 because when you write more, there will be parts that might go missing. So let's say nasa 210 ka na, hindi ka pa naglalagay ng concluding paragraph, your name, signature, and title. Tapos kailangan na i-submit. So nakulangan ka ng oras in the process. So you need to also make sure that you will be looking at the time properly. All right? So more than 150 words. So tone. Tone, tone, tone. Tone is the most important criteria. Guys, listen. Tone is the most important criteria. Again, tone is the most important criteria. So how are we going to determine the tone? The tone is set by the would-be recipient. Listen. The person who receives the letter will be the one to set the tone, not you, not the situation. Situation will vary. The character that you play will vary. But one thing is certain. There is a recipient of your letter. May tatanggap. At yung tatanggap ang magde-determine ng tone. Tinagalog ko na hawag, matigas ulo ng iba. Tone. Para malaman ang tone, alamin sino ang sinusulatan. Sino ang tatanggap ng sulat base saan? Sa task description. Nandun yun. Write a letter to, naka-indicate. By understanding that, you can now determine what type of tone are you going to use. And we have two types of tone to use in your letter. Perhaps some of you might be familiar with this. You have formal and informal. Formal letters come out much more often than informal letters. (70-30). Formal letters come out more often than informal ones. So when you practice more on informal letters. Practice more on formal than informal. Okay? But also we don't want to forget that informal letters exist. So we need to also have at least some background. Okay? Now the question is, when is the letter informal? When is it formal? It is easy to remember. An informal letter, you need to remember to F. F, F. Okay, remember that, guys. F, F. F, F. Ano po ulit? F, F. Sir, ano po ulit? Nakalimutan ko. F, F. Last na, sir. F, F. You need to understand that informal letters are sent to our FFs. What are your FFs? Family and friends. Those recipients who we have personal relationship with. Personal, not professional. Personal relationships, family and friends. So when you see, write a letter to your cousin, write a letter to your mom, write a letter to your dad, write a letter to your fiance, write a letter to your best friend, write a letter to your uncle. They belong in the informal category. Now, it's easy to remember. Formal letters are those outside of our family and friends circle. Nasa labas. So mostly, yan ang ating mga, let's say, writing a letter to the newspaper. writing a letter to the manager of the store, writing a letter to the airline, writing a letter to the bank, writing a letter to the teacher, schoolmaster. So if you will be writing letters to these entities, then you will be using formal letters, okay? So what is the most common formal letter? Letter of complaint. What's the most common informal letter? Letter of invitation. Invitation. Okay. Now, I will ask you, all you have to do is to answer kung formal or informal. Unahin natin si Agnes. Agnes, if I am going to write a letter to my boss, I'll be writing a resignation letter. Am I going to write a formal or informal? Agnes. Agnes, di kita marinig. Pwede mong i-type kung hindi ka makapagsalita. I will write a letter to my boss. Is it going to be formal or informal? Agnes's answer is formal. That is correct. Ana Patricia, I will write a letter to my classmate thanking him of what she did to me, what she did for me when I was away. Is it going to be formal or informal? Classmate who did a favor for me. Formal or informal? Ana Patricia. Sabi ni Ana Patricia, informal? That is correct. Jake, you're up next. I will be writing a letter in response to my neighbor. My neighbor wrote a letter to me complaining about the noise I made yesterday. Is it going to be formal or informal? Jake. Informal. Okay. Jake, your answer needs some modifications. Okay. First of all, I understand where you are getting here. Okay. We are Filipinos and we are raised in an environment which we thought that neighbors are people whom we have personal relationships with. But actually that is far from the truth. All right? That is far from the truth. Why? This is a typical Filipino housing setup. Tingnan nyo ha. Oh, ito yung lupa. Ito halimbawa yung kalsada. Yan. Kalsada. Ngayon, etong unang bilog. Yan. Bahayan ni nanay. Ni nanay at ni tatay. Yung sunod, bahay naman ito ng panganay. Bahay ng panganay. Ito bahay ng sumunod. Iladitse. Ito yung bahay ng bunso. Ganyan ang setup ng typical na bakurang Pinoy. Oh. Ngayon, pag nadedo, si nanay at tatay, anong nangyari? Mag-aaway-away sa lupa ang mga anak. Ayan. Nagets yan? So, sa pag-aakala ni Jake at ng karamihan sa atin, kapag neighbor, informal. But that is far from truth. Especially, kung narinig mo, Jake, ano ang ating situation? I am writing a letter in response to my neighbor who made a complaint about me. Nireklamo ako ng aking neighbor, so I will write a formal letter. Is that clear, Jake? Or do you have any more questions about that? Okay, Jake gave us a thumbs up, so I think that's enough. Ano? So that is a simple exercise for Agnes, Anna, and Jake. So dun sa mga remaining nating participants, don't forget, it will be your turn later. Okay, formal letter is the most common in the IELTS. Correct? Remember that. Now, is there a difference between formal and informal? Yes, I wouldn't go as far as this, talking 10 to 15 minutes about formal and informal if they don't have any difference at all. Well, you see, formal letters are more precise. In this part of the test, we just need to answer all the bullet points and avoid abbreviations as much as possible. And that's it. That is your formal letter. Whereas informal, it's more chatty. Again, this is a recipient of the letter whom you personally know, and you're free to digress. Okay, it means that you can go around the bush for a bit, but we have to avoid falling out of topic still. And abbreviations are fine. Okay, there's a problem with abbreviations though. Actually, you can write an informal letter using proper words and no contractions. Pwede rin ito, okay, sa ating informal. The problem here kasi is that this one, it's counted as one word lang. Whereas, ito, dalawa. Diba? So that's the problem that many people encounter. So avoid abbreviations na lang, both task 1 and task 2. Okay? Para mas makadami tayo ng words. Okay, yun ang aking suggestion. Now, for structure, we have the opening statement, introductory paragraph, middle, action, concluding, closing statement, signature, name, and title. All right, I just want to share this with you. One of my good friends who passed the examination, March? Yes, March. That person managed to get an 8 in writing. Guys, I told you, getting an 8 in writing is a legendary feat already. Legendary yan. Okay, bakit? Guys, how many students have I teach IELTS? Ilan na po ang aking naturuan? More than 6,000. Ilan pa lang po nakakuha ng 8? 2. 2020, ilan nakakuha ng 8 sa buong Pilipinas? 1. Ilan nag-take? 5,700 people. 2021, ilan nakakuha ng 8? 1. Ilan na nag-take? More than 7,000. So you see how rare it is for a person to get an 8. I just want to share this with you. You see, we have multiple parts. Okay, we have multiple parts. Now, my friend kept submitting parts which are missing. Magsasubmit siya ng letter, minsan wala ito, minsan wala yan, minsan wala to. Sabi ko, pag ganyan ang ginawa mo, babagsak ka. Totoo. When you hear the way how I coach my friend, baka lumubog na lang kayo sa kinaupuan, no? So I'm very passionate about writing. That's for sure. I just want to share one of the passers I had last week. Share ko sa inyo ha, ito, basahin ko. Okay, ito. Share ko lang. Sabi niya, Sir, maraming salamat sa paggalit nyo dahil always ako one sentence sa writing ko, introduction. If I will not be mad at you for doing a wrong thing, then there's something wrong with me. Sa madaling salita, if you do not follow the things I tell you to do, your letter, your writing will have problems. You know what these students did for them to finally passed their exams? They followed the instructions I gave. If I tell you that these are how many parts your letter is divided to, these are how many parts you will submit. This is not about me. This is not about you and the examiner. The examiner will be the one to give you the score, not me. I'm just here to teach you how you can get a band score that will make both of you happy. You enrolled at our branch. You paid for your enrollment with cash. Why would you watch YouTube videos? Why would you browse samples online? A lot of them are misleading. They are just there for clicks, for network traffic, because that's how those websites earn. I'm not here for the money. I'm here to pass you. So refrain from resorting to other source materials. Just stick with this. This has not failed any of my students. Wala pang binigo ito. Puro happy stories ang kwento nito. Kung gusto mong happy din ang story mo, ang gagawin mo lang, makinig, sundin ang itinuro, gumawa ng tama. That's it. Okay. These are how many parts a letter is divided to. I was mad at those students when we were doing the one-on-one coaching. I told them, come on, why would you submit a 3-paragraph letter? Sa umpisa pa lang ng klase, sinabi ko na may introduction paragraph ka, o isa na yan. May middle paragraph, 2 pa nga yan. May action paragraph, 4. May concluding paragraph, 5. May closing statement pa. Di ba? Tapos ang isasabit mo, 3 paragraph. Paano tayo papasa dyan, kako? Oh. They made adjustments. They did the proper thing. So my friend got an 8. And this recent student got a 7 on her writing. Second attempt na niya to. Finally, nakinig. So opening statement. Let us talk about opening statement, how to do the opening statement properly. See, look at this. The opening statement depends on the instruction on the task description. Napakasimple po. Kung sa instruction mo may nakalagay, begin your letter. Eto, takpan ko to ha. Takpan ko to. Para mas magkaintindihan tayo. Kung sa instruction mo may nakalagay ganito. Begin your letter with Dear Sir/Madam, comma. Kopyahin mo lang yan as is. Okay? Single caps lock ha. Kung yan ang instruction sa'yo, yan na yan mismo ang kokopyahin mo. Question. Kay Jen Tuluan. Question, Jen Tuluan?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jen, what if ito ang instruction? Ganito ang ginawa ko. Tama ba yung ginawa ko o mali?
Hindi po. I mean, tama siya. Grammatically correct, pero yung
Mali siya, Jen.
instruction nga po, sir.
Hindi na natin
Opo. Ay,
kailangan
mali
i-defend.
po.
Hindi natin kailangan i-defend. Why?
Oh, okay.
Bakit siya mali, Jen? Tinan mo, makinig ka dyan. Ito at ito, nakita mo yung pinagkakaiba? Ito slash ang ginamit sa instruction, pinalitan mo ng or. Yung madam, ginawa mong abbreviations ng ma'am. Yung comma, ginamit mong colon. Bakit siya naging mali, Jen? Paliwanag mo kaya sa akin.
You did not follow the instruction
Exactly,
specifically
Jen.
written.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Jen. Woo, finally. Okay, Jen, thank you so much for that. Hindi sumunod si candidate sa instruction. Ang examiner, ang dali lang ng trabaho nila. Sabihin nila, oh, itong instruction namin, itong si candidate 1, ito ang ginawa. So hindi to marunong sumunod sa utos, hindi to marunong sumunod sa instruction. Paano pagka nag-Canada to? Nakalagay, bawal tumawid. Tapos, hindi niya ngayon susundin yon. So baka makadisgrasya siya. Hindi na lang namin siya ipapasa. Hindi siya magpupunta ng Canada kasi hindi siya marunong sumunod sa instruction. Ganon silang mag-check. Okay. Ngayon, ito ang nakita mo. Dear blank. Ang tatanungin ko dito ay si Katrina. Katrina. Napakamasunurin mo, Katrina. Sinunod mo. Sinulat mo, dear blank. Ngayon, sabi mo sa akin, tama ba yan o mali?
Mali po, sir.
Bakit mali?
Kasi kailangan po ilagay mo kung ano yung hinihingi, hindi yung blank na yun.
Kailangan ilagay ang pangalan. Thank you, Katrina. All right. But remember, guys, this dear blank varies depending on whether your letter is formal or informal. Ulitin ko. Yung ilalagay mo dun sa blank ng dear blank ay magdidepende kung ang letter mo ay formal or informal. Listen closely. Dito po sa formal, ito ang ating situation. Dear blank, you will write the title, okay, plus the full name. Or last name. Mr. Mike Wazowski, Miss Sasha Gray, Mrs. Puff. Those are enough. Okay? Dear Mr. Mike Wazowski, dear Mrs. Sasha Gray, dear Mrs. Puff. Pwede bang dear Miss Gray na lang? Pwede bang dear Mr. Wazowski? Yes. Last name, full name would do. All right? What if? Ito yung situation ko para sa'yo, Marimark Vallejos. Nakalagay, dear blank. Write a letter to the librarian. Ito ang problema. Hindi ko sir kilala yung librarian. Anong ilalagay mo sa blank?
Dear Madam. Yun, sir.
Pwede? Dear Madam? Kaso pwede rin naman maging lalaki yung librarian. Tama?
Yes, sir.
So, anong gagawin ko?
Dear Sir / Madam. Ay, yan, yun, sir.
Don't forget the comma. Okay guys, kailan natin gagamitin itong default? Dear Sir / Madam. Ito po yung default ha. Kung nakalagay, write a letter to the librarian, write a letter to the supervisor, write a letter to the manager of the store, write a letter to the headmaster, write a letter to the accommodation officer, tapos dear blank, there is no way for you to know the name of the person. Di ba? Unless, nakalagay, write a letter to your boss, write a letter to your employer, or write a letter to your colleague. Most especially, kilala mo yun. Dahil let's say, 5 years ka nagtatrabaho doon, sa situation eh. Naturally, pwede mong ilagay yung name. Pero in such cases na there is no way for you to find out the name, so dear sir / madam would be our default. Don't forget the comma. Don't forget that. Never forget. Why? Halimbawa, dear sir / madam, walang comma. Tapos sa dulo, respectfully yours. Sincerely na lang, na mali yung spelling. Kinulang ng E. Sincerely yours. Tapos wala pong comma. Ilan na yung mali? Missing comma dito. Maling spelling ng sincerely. Walang comma. 3 ang mistake sa grammar. 6 na lang ang grammar score mo. So dapat near flawless ang ating grammar. Near perfect to get a 7. So don't forget a simple thing like comma or spelling because it goes a long way. Okay. Now, we're done with formal letter, opening statement. Any questions? Anna, Jake, Jen, Katrina, Marimark, Noraida, Ruel. May tanong po. All right, they don't have questions. Let us proceed. Now we're talking about informal. You may be instructed to fabricate the name of your reader. Okay? Most especially true kapag informal, laging malabas si dear blank. Most of the time, dear blank dyan. Ngayon, tama ba na ilagay ko yung dear sir / madam kapag informal letter? My question goes to you, Noraida. Noraida Rivera.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I am going to write a letter, informal letter. The instruction said, dear blank. Begin your letter with dear blank. Is it correct to write dear sir / madam, comma? Is that correct?
No, sir.
No. Why?
Yes po. Because informal, it should be the FF.
You know the person, right?
Yeah.
You have a personal relationship with the person, right?
Yes po.
So if the instruction says, write a letter to your mom, why would you write dear sir / madam? That's silly.
Yes.
Susulat ka
It
ng
should
letter
be,
sa nanay mo. Ano dapat?
it should be my mom's name.
Dear mom. Right?
Yes.
Dear mom. What about if I'm going to write a letter to Uncle Kevin? Dear blank. Write a letter to your Uncle Kevin who live next city. Begin your letter with dear blank. Paano ko sisimulan yan, Noraida? Dear
Uncle Kevin.
Uncle Kevin. That's correct. Can I write the last name of Kevin?
No, it's
No.
it's all right with Uncle Kevin.
Actually, it is wrong to write the last name. It's always the first name. If it is informal letter, listen to me. Okay, Noraida is correct. If it is informal letter, only the first name of the reader. First name, pet name, ano pa, call names. Okay? Write a letter to your wife. Oh. Dear honey or dear darling. only first name basis if this is informal letter. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No last name. Ngayon, baliktad tayo ha. Kapag formal, last name lang, okay na. Buong pangalan, okay na. Kapag informal, first name lang. At yung tawagan. Write a letter to your mother, dear mom. Write a letter to your father, dear dad. Thank you so much for participating, Narida. Now let's continue. Introductory paragraph. Okay. Introductory paragraph. For me, this is the most important. Wait a minute, I'll sneeze. Okay guys, I'm sorry. I had to sneeze. Isipon kasi ko, no? So, introductory paragraph. Guys, this is the part of the letter that I am always meticulous about. I might not pay attention to the other parts of your letter, but not with introductory paragraph. Remember, my friend who got an 8, how many sessions did it take for us, for him to finally correct his introduction? Quite a few. But I didn't stop telling him, this is your 3rd attempt doing the introductory paragraph, and it is still not proper. If you don't make any amendment soon, if you don't make any correction soon, you will fail, and you will fail hard, I told him. I was glad when he listened and he finally got an 8 in writing. A legendary score. A very impressive feat. So first, guidelines for formal letter. Begin with introducing who you are without saying your name. Sir, are you crazy? How can I possibly introduce who I am without saying my name? You're crazy, you're wacko. Actually, there is a way to introduce yourself without saying your name. And that way is to understand what character do you play in the situation. Oh, magta-type ako dito ha. Sabihin nyo sa akin anong character. Write a letter to the accommodation. Teka, wag na lang yan. A letter to the renting agency about problems with your house. So what is my character here, Ruel? Sino ako sa sitwasyon?
Tenant, sir. Tenant.
Tenant? Correct! Diba? Oh, tenant. Huwag ka muna nga alis, Ruel, may mga tanong pa ako. You bought a laptop And after a week of use, you found out some defects. Write a letter of complaint to the shop manager. Sino ka sa situation, Roel?
Buyer, sir.
Buyer! That's good. Buyer, anong pwedeng pamalit sa buyer?
Consumer.
Consumer! Hindi ako nagagalit,
Customer.
Roel, ha? Yan, talaga ako magsalita. Client,
Customer, sir. Customer.
customer. Guys, ayusin niyo yung spelling ng customer, ha? Ang dami nagkakamali ng spelling dyan. Ang ginagawa nilang spelling, ito. Costumer. Ang costumer, gumagawa yan ng costume. Ang customer, you ang mauuna, yan ay mamimili. Nakuha?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Ruel. So magpapakilala ka daw muna nang hindi mo sasabihin ang pangalan mo. So pwede kong simulan ng ganito. Halimbawa, you bought a laptop and after a week of use, you found out some defects. Write a letter of complaint to the shop manager. So pwede ko itong simulan ng ganito. Good day. I am an avid customer of your shop. And I recently bought a laptop. That is the first sentence of your introductory paragraph. Now, people, listen to me. Listen. A one-sentence introduction is not enough. Your introductory paragraph must have 2 sentences. So if you will submit an introduction like this, automatically there is going to be problem in your coherence and cohesion because it is not utilizing its properties. It's not doing its job. You just introduce, but there has to be another sentence in tandem with it, making the introductory paragraph 2 sentences. Dalawa, hindi pwedeng isa, dalawa. 2, 2, 2. Ni, sa Hapon. Sige, lahat ng lengguwahe. 2 sentences. 2 sentences. There should be 2 sentences in your introductory paragraph. So we did the first one. Now we're going to do the second one. In the second sentence, you will state the purpose of your letter. You will answer the question, why am I writing this letter? And to answer that question, you will simply write, I am writing this letter because. Are there any variants of that? Yes. I am writing to ask you about. I am writing to complain about. I am writing to request. I am writing to invite. I am writing to tell you about. I am writing this letter because. I am writing to report that the device I bought have defects. I'll write a letter to the renting agency because there are problems with the heating system of your house. I am currently residing at Unit 2, Lot 5. I wrote this letter to request that you do something about the faulty heating system of the house. Write a letter to the librarian telling him/her that you will not be able to return the books on time. I am a second-year nursing student who borrowed 2 books from the reference section last week. Due to unforeseen circumstances, I would not be able to return them on time. That is why I wrote this letter to explain my situation. Laging may I wrote, I am writing this letter because. Marami pa tayong sample, guys. Pagdating sa letter writing, napakadaling gawin yan. So we have tons of samples for you. Okay? Now, do you guys have any questions? From my 9 participants, Agnes, Anna, Army, Jake, Jen, Katrina, Marimark, Noraida, Ruel. Do you have questions? Okay, Jake, it's okay. Later, Jake, meron tayong replay. So you can still watch what you will miss. Okay? So let us continue. It is important to have a second sentence in your letter, both for formal and informal. Now, the problem here is that kay formal letter, you will introduce who you are. But in informal letter, you do not introduce who you are. Okay? You do not introduce who you are. Now, balik tayo ulit sa umpisa kay Agnes. Agnes, bakit hindi tayo nagpapakilala sa informal letter? Agnes, why aren't we introducing ourselves in informal letter?
Sir, kakilala na po natin sila.
Exactly. Magpapakilala ka pa ba sa nanay mo? Nanay mo yun. Magpapakilala ka pa sa tatay mo yun. Diba? Oh, that is a silly thing to do. Why would you introduce yourself to someone who you already know personally? That is just totally wrong. Sir, di ba, pag hindi ako nag-introduce, hindi magiging 2 sentence ang aking introduction. Tama. Pero may ipapalit tayo doon. Ano ba ang ginagawa natin pag nakikita natin ang ating mga kakilala? Ana Patricia, pag nakikita mo ang mga kakilala mo, anong ginagawa mo?
Ginigreet, sir.
Ginigreet! Teka, may isa pang ginagawa bukod sa ginigreet. Halimbawa, kakilala mo ako, Ana, nagkita tayo sa SM. Nakita mo ako, ano sasabihin mo sa akin?
Kinakamusta?
Kamusta? Kinakamusta? Diba? O sasabihin ng mga kakilala, uy, kamusta? Tumaba ka. O sampalin mo agad. Ha? Bastos ang bibig eh. Kakakita pa lang, sasabihin agad, tumaba ka, sampalin mo. Hindi, pinapatagal yung mga ganyan. Sampalin mo yung mukha. Diba? O, kamusta? Tama ka dyan, Ana. Kamusta? Kamusta? Kailan nyo huling kinamusta ang inyong mga ex? Agnes, Ana, Army, Jen, Katrina, Marimark, Noraida, Ruel. Kailan nyo huling kinamusta ang inyong mga ex? Sir, hindi na po kinakamusta ang mga animal.
Bawal, sir.
Never po. Ayan, never. Sabi ni Katrina, never. Sabi ni Jen, never.
Bawal, sir. Bawal.
Sabi ni Ruel, bawal. Pero kung hindi bawal, kakamustahin mo? Sumbong kita sa asawa mo, Ruel, ha? Bawal lang pala, ha? Pero kung may pagkakataon, ha? Joke lang, Ruel, okay? So, kamusta? Ang tawag natin yan sa English is inquiry of how you and the recipient of your letter is doing. Okay? Noraida, di na po kailangan nakamustahin ng ex. Mga hugot to mga to, alright? So, that is the thing, alright? Inquiry of how your reader is doing. So, halimbawa, write a letter to your cousin inviting him to your wedding 3 months from now. Eto, ganito ang gagawin natin dyan. Okay. For example, dear cousin Jake. Dear cousin, umalis na kasi si Jake eh. Cousin Jake. Dahil po name of relationship si cousin, kasama yung first name, capital letter, parehas yan. Again, capitalization. Dear cousin Jake, hi. Pwede tayo mag-exclamation mark kasi ito ay informal. How are you? Kamusta ha? I hope that you are doing well with your job there in Canada. My family and I are doing fine despite the warm weather. Here in Cabanatuan. Anyway, I wrote this letter because I am inviting you to my wedding three months from now. That's your introduction. This is the inquiry. Hi, how are you? I hope that you're doing well with your dog there in Canada and family and I are doing well. Doing fine, despite the warm weather here in Cabanatuan. Kamustahan, inquiry of how you're doing, and as well as asking how your reader is doing. Anyway, I wrote this letter because I'm inviting you to my wedding 3 months from now. That's it, very brief and concise. So once again, never forget to include the purpose of your letter. There is no excuse for you. Whether you will be writing formal or informal letter, there is no excuse. There should always be a purpose. Purpose is necessary for your letter. Any questions? Any questions? Sa introductory paragraph, bago tayo dumako sa ating middle paragraph. Army, ikaw ba ay academic?
Yes, sir, academic.
Okay, why did you attend your GT letter? This is not for your module.
Ay!
Your
Hindi ko
module was
napansin, sir.
yesterday. Yesterday was academic cycle. So that was the class that you need to attend. Today is GT, so this is only for the general training because your letter, task 1 letter and report are completely different. Now, don't worry, this just happened ever so often. Minsan lang nangyayari to na magkaiba kayo ng lecture. But most of the time, both Tuesday and Wednesday, parehong may klase major para sa inyong dalawa. Ngayon lang to kasi monthly, kailangan ko din mag-GT.
Sige sir, magli-leave na ako.
No, it's fine. If you want to stay, it's okay. But I will not be asking you questions kasi sila yung kailangan ko talagang i-probe ng questions. But if you'll be doing something else, like you have personal stuff to do, this is not for you anyway, so pwede ka na mag-leave. But if you're just like, sir, mag-leave na lang kaya ako, okay naman, kung wala kang gagawin, you can stay.
Mag-review na lang ako ng previous lecture.
That's nice. All right, so Army, thank you so
sige.
much, ha?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so let us continue, everyone. Middle paragraph, so you don't have any questions sa middle paragraph, so let us continue. Si Agnes ay akad din daw. Ayan. Agnes, nangyari, akad ka pala. Iba nga, di ba, ang module ng akad sa GT. Ayan. Permission to leave po, sabi ni Agnes. All right, see you, Agnes. Okay, so let us continue. Nabawasan na yung aking mga tatanungin. Kumonti na lang tuloy sila. Si Ana, si Jen, si Katrina, Marimark, Narida, Ruel. Kukonti na lang ang aking mga pahihirapan today. All right, so we have middle paragraph. We need to cover all the bullet points because if you don't, as I've mentioned, you will get a grade of 4 or even lower. Once again, this is a score that we don't want to achieve. This is a score that we want to avoid completely. And failure to cover just one bullet point guarantees a 4. Isang bullet point lang ang mamali, isang bullet point ang mamiss, 4. Sir, what if I get a bullet point question telling me to introduce yourself? Like telling me to introduce myself, like introduce yourself. Paano yun? You do not have to reintroduce yourself in the middle paragraph since you should have done that in the introductory paragraph. What you could do is to add something. So kung nagpakilala ka na I am a customer, nakalagay doon, sorry. Sige, bigyan natin ng instruction ito. Cover ko lang ito para malinaw. Gusto ko nakikita niyo siya in action, ha? All right. So for example lang ito. Nakita niyo ang inyong instruction. You rode a bus last week and your suitcase was damaged. Write a letter to the bus company explaining the situation and ask for compensation. Bayaran nila yung nasira mong suitcase. Okay. So, syempre, good day. Good day. I was a passenger of your bus last week. I wrote this letter because my suitcase got damaged and I would like to demand compensation for it. Nakalagay sa bullet point, introduce yourself. Halimbawa lang ito, introduce yourself. Technically, you're not supposed to reintroduce yourself because you have done that already here in the introductory paragraph. Nakapagpakilala ka na. But what you can do sa middle paragraph number 1 is to add more details about yourself. Like, I used to ride your bus ever since I was in high school. Or since I was in high school. And I have not experienced any problems. However, dagdag ka. So this is additional info about yourself, not technically reintroducing yourself ulit. Ulitin ko ito po ay nagdadagdag ng karagdagan lang na impormasyon tungkol sa iyo at hindi mismong pag-i-introduce o pagpapakilala ulit because that is something we would like to avoid providing multiple informations, okay? So we don't want that to happen. Now, middle paragraph, teka may ano pala dito? Clear. Ayan. We need to cover the bullet points. We need to make sure that we will cover every single one of them to avoid failure. If you get a bullet point question telling you to introduce yourself, you don't have to do that once again in the middle. What you could do is to possibly add more details about yourself, which is apart from the information you provided in the beginning. All right, so that's what you will be doing. Action paragraph. This is where you state the action you want the recipient of the letter to undertake, or if appropriate, your action. So invent. So ikaw mag-iisip, no, do not apologize if you are making a formal complaint. Okay, nagrereklamo ka, tapos magsosorry ka. Tanungin kita, Ana Patricia. Ana, ikaw ba ay may jowa?
Wala, sir.
Wala. Nagka-jowa ka na ba ever?
Wala po.
Wala pa? Wala ka experience? Ilang taong ka na ba, Ana?
24 po.
24. Pwede na yan. Sabi mo sa parents mo, pwede na mag-jowa. Ayan. Pero syempre, pag nandun ka na sa Canada, kung mag-jowa, para madatong. Ano, dito sa Pilipinas, walang mga pera yung mga tao. Doon, maraming pera. Na? Okay?
Yes, sir.
Talaga eh, no? Okay. Next, si Jen. Jen, ikaw na lang tanungin ko. May jowa ka ba, Jen?
Yes, sir.
Ayun naman. Talaga sagutin niya, yes, sir! Meron po kang jowa. Ayan, no? Taas ng tono ni Jen. Jen, ganito. Naranasan mo na ba na kayo ay nag-away ng jowa mo? Oh.
Yes po.
Tapos, siya ang may kasalanan.
Opo.
Sino ang magsosorry dapat? Siya o ikaw?
Sure.
Siya. Dahil pag ikaw ang nag-sorry, siya ang may kasalanan. Anong tawag sa'yo?
Syunga.
Pok maru ang tawag sa'yo. Marupok ka.
Yeah,
Ano?
sir. Syunga.
So, ganito rin yon sa letter. Nagreklamo ka, ikaw yung ginawa ng masama. Tapos banda huli, ay sorry pala kasi nagsulat ako ng letter. No? Naabala ko kayo. Nagsulat ka pa ng letter. Kung lalambot-lambot ka rin pala, lurupok-rupok ka rin pala sa dulo. O hindi ganon. That is not how you write letter. Kapag ikaw ay gagawa ng letter of complaint, you have to remain sturdy from beginning until the end. You have to remain tight from the beginning until the end. Kailan ka lang mag-a-apologize? There are situations na kailangan mo mag-apologize. For example, sa letter naka-indicate, your neighbor wrote a letter complaining about the noise that you made last week. Apologize to the inconvenience that you made. So in that case, that is the time you need to apologize kasi ikaw yung may fault sa imaginary scenario. Pero kung ikaw ay nagko-complain, hindi ka mag-apologize. Kung ikaw ang may kasalanan, ikaw mag-apologize. Ngayon, kung siya ang may kasalanan, siya ang mag-apologize. Hindi ka dapat mag-apologize. Alright. So ikaw ba ay, Ruel, ikaw ba ay may misis na, Ruel?
Meron, sir.
Ayan, sa buhay may asawa, Ruel, tatandaan natin. Lalaki ang may kasalanan, tayo ang may kasalanan, sila ang may kasalanan, tayo parati ang magsosorry. Tama ba, Ruel?
Tama, sir.
Tama. Okay. Pero hindi ganun sa letter, ha? Okay, gusto ko lang i-explain.
Yes, sir.
Alright. So meron tayong chats. Sabi ni Noraida, super lakas ng ulan, choppy na ang audio ko, leave po muna. Okay, malakas din ang ulan sa amin. Sir, wait lang po, driving po kuha ng module, sabi ni Katrina. Okay, so do not apologize if you are making a formal complaint. You only apologize if you're told in the instructions that you're at fault in the imaginary scenario. Okay. So, continue natin. Asking for reply. Ilalagay nyo guys to sa huli ha. I look forward to hear from you. Please do not hesitate to call me if you need more information. So halimbawa, sir, nakakaano pa lang ako, 130 na words. Meron pa po ako natitira na lang, siguro 5 minutes. Paano po kaya ilalagay ko doon? Oh, ganyan. I look forward to hearing from you soon with some good news. Should you need to get in touch, I would be more than glad. Glad yun. I would be more than glad to receive a call from you. Here is my office number at 044-463-9123, and my email is Kevin Pogi 123@gmail.com. Gawin nating formal. Kevin Mangulabnan. gmail.com. Thank you so much. Oh, ilang words na yan? Di ba? 130. Kailangan mo na lang kawan ng 20. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sunto ha. 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Bingo. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 4, 5, 6, 7, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. 46 words ang ating naidagdag. Gamit lang itong mga to. Oh, idagdag mo pa yung sa introduction na naituro natin. I am writing this letter because. I am writing this letter because. 6. Diba? So, ang dali pong ma-achieve ang 150 words sa letter writing. Okay. So, sir, ano pa po yung mga pwede kong pagpilian? Diba? My office email is, paano kung mag-apologize ka? I apologize for causing you trouble. I apologize for any inconvenience this causes. I'm sorry to cause you so much trouble. Yan. So, ganun yung ating template. Closing statement. If the recipient's name is unknown, dear sir/madam, nilagay mo sa umpisa, pwedeng yours faithfully, pwedeng faithfully yours, pwedeng yours sincerely, pwedeng sincerely yours. Don't forget, ang napaka-importante ay ang comma. Okay? Sa informal naman, dalawa lang ang pinagpipilian. Best wishes, kapag friends, ito ginagawa ko, best wishes, comma, or love, kapag naman family. Yan. Siyempre, capital letter yung B. Yan. Tapos sa love naman, capital letter yung L. No? So, best wishes, Kevin. Love, Kevin. Yan. Okay, anong pinagkaiba ng signature name and title? Kapag dito sa formal, buong pangalan. So, halimbawa, ito yung ending niyan. Sincerely yours, comma, Kevin Mangulabnan. Tapos, student. Nilagay pa sa baba. Tapos pipirmahan yan. Yan, talaga ng signature. So ganyan po sa formal, ha? So hindi po laging student, ha? Baka naman ang topic client ka tapos student nilagay mo. Huwag mo na lagyan kung malilito ka lang, no? Okay, what else? Sa informal naman, limbawa, tapos ka na. Best wishes, comma, Kevin. Bawal pirmahan, yan lang. Yan lang ang bumubuo sa signature name and title ng informal. Best wishes, comma, Kevin. Pwede rin love, comma, tas Kevin. That's it. Walang pirma. Bawal pirmahan yan. Informal letter. Okay. So, eto na yung sample natin, ha? Makinig po kayong mabuti. You will see this in action. Malapit na tayo matapos, guys. Kasi after po nitong pagpapresent ko sa inyo ng mga sample, gagawa ako ng 3 letter live. Makikita nyo kung paano ako gumawa. Ano? So, you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. You live in a room in college which you share with another student. However, there are many problems with this arrangement and you find it difficult to work. So, ang situation natin, okay, do-drawing ko. Mahilig ako mag-drawing, guys. Pasensya na. No? So, ito daw, ang ating accommodation. Halimbawa, ayan. So, itong accommodation natin, 2 ang nakatira. Ikaw at saka yung roommate mo. So, syempre ikaw, white, kasi ikaw yung good person. No? Yan. Ikaw yan, ha? Para kang butiki. Na. Tapos, ito naman, black, kasi devil yan. Ang iyong roommate. Evil. Okay? Square ang kanyang muka. Yan siya. So, syempre, may problema daw sa inyong setup. Sa inyong arrangement. And you find it difficult to work. Ngayon, ano mangyayari? Write a letter to the accommodation officer at the college. So, what type of letter is this? Nakalagay sa dulo ha, say what kind of accommodation you would prefer. So this is a letter of request for you to change your accommodation. Guys, it is so simple. When you look at the third bullet point, usually, I'm not saying all the time, I'm not saying this is absolute ha. When you look at the last bullet point, normally this carries what type of letter this is. So, if naka-indicate na say what kind of accommodation you would prefer, you are automatically going to write a letter about you asking them to change your accommodation. There is a situation and it's making it very difficult for you to study because of the arrangement. So, anong pwede maging dahilan? O, mag-iimbento ka. Siyempre, ang may kasalanan, yung roommate. So, halimbawa, ikaw, masipag ka mag-aral. Si roommate nagdadala ng mga barkada, maingay sila. Diba? You cannot study well, you cannot concentrate, and your grades are being affected. So yun ang magiging theme ng ating letter. So look at what I did, okay? Dear sir or madam, I currently reside in the college halls of residence and I am writing to request a change of accommodation. So actually guys, dapat hatiin yan, ano? I currently reside at the college halls of residence. Period. I'm writing to request a change for accommodation to make the number of sentences of your introduction to. So yun yung mistake dyan. At the moment, I share the room with Mia Khalifa. Although she and I really get on well as people, we have very different studying habits. She works best at night and often studies until 3 or 4 a.m. Of course, she has the lights on and eats, both of which disturb my sleep. I, on the other hand, prefer to wake on the break of dawn and study before going to college. After 2 weeks of this arrangement, I find that I'm constantly tired as a result of not being able to sleep well, and this in turn is adversely affecting my studies. So yun po yung dalawang bullet point na pinagsama sa isang paragraph. Explain, describe the situation, and explain why is it difficult to work. Pwede mong paghiwalayin yan if that suits your theme, but in this case, pinagsama, wala rin problema. Ito na po yung bullet point, the action paragraph, nagre-request siya. I feel that I would only be able to study well if I have a single room and do not have to share. Given these extenuating circumstances, I would be grateful if you could arrange this for me. Okay? Thank you in advance for taking time reading my letter. I apologize for any inconvenience. Ito yung tinuro ko kanina, pampadagdag na number of words. Inconvenience that this will cause you, and I look forward to hearing from you soon with some good news. Should you need to get in touch, I'll be more than glad to receive a call from you. You can reach me at 886-7745. Yours faithfully, Lexi Lore, student, tapos pirma. Okay. So Ana, Jen, Katrina, Marimark, Ruel, okay po ba ang ating letter? First letter po yan. Any questions so far? Okay, mukhang wala. Okay, ito yung another. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. You migrated to another country. Write a letter to your friend who also happens to live in that country. Tell this friend why you chose this country, perhaps because of work. Describe your new place of residence and propose a meeting with your friend. So, dear blank. So, obviously, maglalagay ka ng pangalan ni friend at ito ay first name lang. Dear Brian. So, gamit lang ako saglit ng ilaw. Ha? Yan. Dear Brian, I just arrived here in Shanghai 3 days ago. And I have to say, I did not expect it to be so cold here. This makes me miss the tropical heat in the Philippines so much. It is a good thing that I always have a piece of the Philippines here since I have friends like you living here as well. I wrote this letter to invite you a simple get-together a week or 2 from now. So this is a letter of invitation. If I'm not mistaken, you told me that you live in the downtown area of the city. Although I think you were slightly exaggerating when you talked about how noisy it is there, I consider the slight probability that you might be telling the truth. I followed your advice and decided to rent a flat in the outskirts of the city because my work is close to the area. The place is a bit shabby, but it has its charms. The neighbors are friendly, and my house is close to the roads, to the shops, and to my work. Honestly, the only flaw I can think of is that the place gets eerily quiet at times. I miss the rocos we used to make together in our office back in Moraita. To somehow make my new pad more reminiscent of what once was, I'm commanding you as a friend to drop by here soon. I will cook your favorite rice dish in insane quantities if you promise to visit me. Thank you in advance for saying yes, my very good friend, Love, Richard. So, guys, ang dami kong sample dito ha. Sobrang dami. Pero mapapanood nyo lahat ito. Makikita nyo ito dito sa ating sample. Yan, lahat-lahat na yan. But right now, ako ay gagawa live. Okay, ito po, ang dami nating sample. Probably mga nasa 12 pang 15 itong gagawin ko. Ganun kadaming samples tayo dito. Ayan, no? Oh. Okay. So, gagawa po ako sa harapan ninyo live. Ayan. Open lang ako ng Microsoft Word saglit. So, Ana Patricia, Jen, Katrina, Marimark, Ruel, may mga tanong po ba kayo? So eto guys, kakakopy ko lang nito kanina. Gusto ko lang i-share na ito talaga ay very fresh sa akin. Ano? Lakihan ko lang yung ating size. Yan. So you have received a letter from your bank. Ito po yung ating situation. Asking you to acknowledge receipt of a new bank card, which means they sent you a bank card and they want you to acknowledge that you have received it. Yun ang ibig sabihin. However, the card was missing from the envelope. Write a letter to the bank's head office. In your letter, explain why you are writing. Express concern about the missing card and ask them what they intend to do. Question ni Marimark, sir, ganyan po ba ang format? Yes, ganito po ang format ng pagsusulat. Pero hindi ito kasama ha. Gusto ko lang makita nyo muna kasi yung task description. Pero ngayon makikita mo na kung paano ako magsulat. Okay? So of course, susulat tayo sa bangko, head office ng bangko. Diba? Dear Sir, ang oras sa akin 3:02. Orasan natin gano'n ito kabilis gagawin. Dear Sir / Madam. Good day. I have received the envelope which was supposed to contain my new bank card. However, the card was missing. That is why I wrote this letter to make a formal complaint about it. So I went to one of the nearest branches of your bank last week for the issuance of my new bank card that I need for my employment. The teller, Miss Cruz, informed me that they will send the card within 5 days. I was happy when it arrived as expected. However, to my surprise, I was only able to see the terms of the card and it was missing inside. This made me concerned about it since hacking incidents are on the rise. Mataas na yung mga hacking. Therefore, I cannot wait lang. I cannot give my receipt, my acknowledgement with the card still missing. Ang ating paragraph na solution paragraph, yung action paragraph yung gusto nating mangyari, I would like you to take action immediately regarding this matter since it is very the card could fall into wrong hands. I would also like to emphasize its importance to my work, which will begin next week. I hope that this matter will be resolved urgently. Thank you for taking time reading my letter. Please send me an email if you have updates. Yours sincerely, Kevin. Ang oras sa akin ay 3:08. Nag-start tayo ng 3:02. 6 na minuto. Tinype ko ito. Ilang words? 196. Okay, so tapos tayo sa isa. Don't worry, makikita nyo rin ito sa mga samples natin. So for now, nakaisa na tayo. Gagawa pa ako ng isa. Kasi malakas kayo sa akin eh, no? Alright, copy ko lang yung isa. Stop ko muna ha, para mas maganda yung pag-share ko. So ganun po yung level na gusto nating ma-achieve kapag tayo ay nagpa-practice, kapag tayo ay gagawa ng letter, and at the same time, pag dumating na tayo doon mismo sa araw ng exam, ganun na dapat tayo ka-praktisado when it comes to the... Ito, similar concept din. Ito naman, your car insurance company has told you that they are going to increase the amount you have to pay in insurance for your car each month. You are not happy about this. Write a letter to your insurance company. In your letter, explain why you are writing to them. Papaliwanag mo, I wrote this letter, blah, blah, blah. Why you think the insurance should not be increased. What you want them to do. Okay? So, begin your letter with Dear Blank. So, wala tayong magagawa dito kung hindi gamitin na naman ang ating alas na Dear Sir/Madam. So, lalakihan ko yung font ng aking isusulat at ibobold ko rin ito. So 3:10 sa aking oras. Simulan ko na ang aking round 2. So dear sir / madam, comma, a good day. Lagyan natin ng good day, syempre. I have been a car insurance holder of your company for 10 years. And recently, I received a notice regarding its increase, regarding the price increase. I wrote this letter to inform you, or I wrote this letter kasi ang gagawin natin sa last bullet point is what you want them to do and wag natin increase. And I wrote this letter to inform you that I am against this price hike. Okay. So explain muna natin why are you writing to them. So let's say I availed the platinum service of your car insurance, which covers all the circumstances. It was pretty high to begin with, and a price increase is not justified, especially in this time of pandemic. Di ba? Wala silang konsiderasyon. So why you think the insurance should not be increased? I believe that the cost of the insurance should remain the same because for 10 years, I have not used it in any situation. Hindi ko pinagamit yung insurance in any situation because I am a very careful driver. I believe that the cost of the insurance should remain the same because for 10 years, I have not used it in any situation because I'm a very careful driver. All right. Dagdag na natin itong Similarly, other car insurance companies offer the same services as yours, yet with the same or even lower price bracket. I am hoping that you will not push through with this unjustified cost increment and suggest you let my insurance remain in the same price bracket. Otherwise, I will be forced to remove my insurance with you and avail other services. Diba? Ang nakalagay dun sa action bullet point, what you want them to do. Ang gusto ko mangyari, I'm hoping you will not push through. Ito yung gusto ko mangyari with this unjustified cost increment and suggest na hayaan nyo yung insurance ko na manatili sa same price bracket. Otherwise, dahil kung hindi mangyayari yon, lilipat ako ng iba. Yun yung nakalagay. So, thank you for taking time reading my letter. Kliyan ko na lang. I hope to hear from you soon with some good news. Tapos, yours faithfully naman, Kevin Mangulabnan. Yeah. So how many words is this going to be? Control X. 192. So yung kanina 196, ngayon 192. In just 6 minutes lang, nakagawa tayo ulit ng letter. So, any questions po bago ako pumunta dun sa last na sample ko? So kanina, gumawa tayo ng formal letter sa bangko. Yung ngayon, nakagawa tayo ng formal letter sa insurance. Tapos yung susunod natin ay informal naman. Actually guys, gusto ko lang ulit i-share yung ating mga samples dito. Ang dami-dami po talaga. Start tayo sa slide 30. Ayan. Halos lahat ng yan po ay meron na. Ito, share ko lang. Halos lahat po ng ito, slide 30. Simulan natin dito. Slide 29 pa lang. Slide 29, punong-puno na tayo ng sample. Ito yung intro, ito yung body, ito yung action paragraph, ito yung concluding paragraph. Tapos ito ulit, had a good meal. Ito naman yung college cafeteria, neighbors complain about you, and HR supervisor. Meron din tayong selling the TV. Ito po yung selling the TV. Dear Gary, introduction. Ito yung middle paragraph. Ito yung ating middle paragraph plus action paragraph. And then concluding paragraph at best wishes John, signature and title. Tapos family, dine at a favorite restaurant, magko-complain sa restaurant. Ito din yung sample niyan. Tapos ito naman exercising. Susulatan natin si Mr. Cotto, manager natin sa gym. Ito siya. Kalagay, write a letter to Mr. Cotto. So syempre, ang ginawa ko, yun din. Dear Mr. Cotto. So meron din tayong sample niyan. Dito po sa you had a minor accident inside the supermarket. Yung ginamit nating sample kay Ruel kanina. So ito naman yan. Meron din tayong sample dyan. Ito yung supermarket. Babasahin niyo yan mamaya. Ito naman yung your friend recently moved to the same town you live. So ini-invite mo itong friend mo para mag-gym kayo. Tapos ito yung aking sample. Ayan. 7 minutes ko naman itong tinype. Ayan. So live ko rin po yung tinype. Ito po yung mga dati kong nagawa. So every month kasi gumagawa ako ng GT letter. So lahat ito nagpa-pile up. So November, nag-start ito. January may isa. February may isa. So probably pang 5 GT letter ko na ito. So ito, you booked a hotel. Ito din yung sample natin dyan. 7 minutes kong tinype. You flew with an airline. You had a problem with the food. Ito din yun. Meron tayong sample. 7 minutes kong tinype. Write a letter to a property agent. So sa lahat po, hindi po kayo magsasawa. Kakabasa ng mga samples. Kasi ang dami-dami kong samples. And hopefully, magkaroon kayo ng matapat ito sa inyo. Okay guys, so as I was saying, I need to answer a call po. ang dami nating samples na hindi kayo magkakaroon ng deficiencies dyan. And hopefully, may matapat man dito sa inyo, sa exam, para at least meron kayong idea. So ito na yung last na sample ko today, ha? May blank ba tayo? Wala. Teka lang, wala pa pala akong blank. Wala pa akong blank na document, ha? File, new. Share. Okay guys, nakikita po ito. Kaya ngayon ko pa lang ito mababasa kasi nag-random ako kanina ng pili. So you play a team sport with some friends. Last week, a member of the team had an accident and wasn't able to play with you. So ito po yung ating situation. You play a team sport. So isip tayo, pwedeng basketball, pwedeng volleyball. So madaling intindihin yung rules ng basketball. Hindi masyadong complicated. So probably that's what I'm going to pick. Tell your friend which team won. So him ang ating friend. So kailangan lalaki ang pangalan niya. Describe the weather conditions that day. Kung kamusta ang ating panahon. Say how you felt about the match. Write at least 150 words. You do not need to write any addresses. Begin your letter as follows. Dear blank. Okay. So, gagawa tayo ng letter. Dear Rap. That's my friend. Ang oras sa akin 3:21. Simulan natin. Dear Rap, I hope that you are doing okay after your ankle injury last month. We have not seen you for a whole month and the entire team misses you badly. I wrote this letter to tell you what happened about our semifinals match yesterday. Okay. Bullet point, tell him which team won. Luckily, our team won against our district competitor. Pangalanan natin ito. Blue Hawks. Yan. Their defense was as tight as ever, but Coach Mac was able to counter attack. We just won by 5 points, and the final score was 91-86. 5 points. I believe that we would win by more points if you were here with us. The weather yesterday was gloomy, yet it was very warm. The reason why my energy got depleted early on. I followed your advice and added a pinch of salt and slice of lemon in my drink, which enabled me to return by third quarter. Tapos nakalagay sa last, say how you felt about the match. I was really happy that the team was able to beat the Blue Hawks. I was really happy that the team was able to beat the Blue Hawks yesterday because we always struggled with them or competing against them. We still have an upcoming with the Orange Knights next week. And I hope that you are healed enough to join us so we can finally win a championship together. We still have an upcoming battle, the Orange Knights, next week, and I hope that you are healed enough to join us so we can finally win a championship together. I hope to see you soon, my friend. I know that even without practice, you will be a huge help versus the Knights. See you around, buddy. Best wishes, Kevin. 3:27, 6 minutes natin tonight. Ilang words? 2:24. Sumobra ako ng 4. So that's it, guys. That is the end of our GT letter writing for today. So thank you for participating, Anna, Jen, Katrina, Marimark, and Ruel. Do you guys have any questions before we end our discussion today? All right. Ruel just gave a thumbs up. What about the others? None, sir, sabi ni Jen. All right. So if you guys don't have any questions. Yes, Inian, Marimark?
Loud and clear, sir. Okay na po.
Okay. All right. So Marimark, Anna, Jen, Katrina, Ruel, if you don't have any questions, if you don't have any more concerns, that will be it for today. Wait for the upload of the replay and the upload of the samples. Itong mga nilagay ko sa Word, ilalagay ko sa PDF kasama ng PowerPoint ko na to mismo so that you can browse them. All I want you to do is to read them. No? Read at least 4 letters a day. And that's it. Basa ka lang ng basa. Okay. So bye-bye po. Have a nice day. God bless. Good luck. Sabi ni Ana, sir, saan po in-person class sa Friday? Actually, our office is located at 2nd floor, Solid Building, Bernardo District, Santiago Street, Cabanatuan City. Tingnan yung post ng Niner Facebook. Mayroong QR codes doon. So doon sa QR codes na nandun, pwede kang mag-scan nun. Scan mo siya. Save mo yung photo. Click mo yung QR code. Mapupunta ka na sa Google Maps. Okay? Nandun po yan. Okay, Ana Patricia, what time? 9 a.m. So you should be there by 8:30 dahil maaga po nagsisimula ang klase natin. 8:30 a.m.
Hanggang anong oras po yun?
Hanggang anong oras? So 8:30 magsimula ng 9, matatapos ay 11, magche-check tayo 11:30, magtatanghalian, babalik kayo ng 1 para sa afternoon class. 1 to 4.
Okay po, sir. Thank you.
Okay. What else? May mga tanong pa bukod doon? Okay, I think wala na. All right, have a nice day, guys. God bless. Good luck. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.